Hey everyone, welcome to Was That in Good Taste, your podcast for tasting and then asking, was that good?
Should I have said that? Was it? Can I blame it on the alcohol?
Can I blame it on the shots? Blame it on the Henny? Blame it on the Douce? Got you feeling dizzy? Blame it on the alcohol. We're back again for another amazing October-themed episode because we've been
Did we say our names?
No, I was getting to that.
I'm sorry.
I was building up to it. All right,
this
let's
is good. I love this.
jump to it. All right.
Let's just do the thing.
Who are you?
Fuck, me first?
Yeah. Name an occupation.
James Beery. Occupation, I feel like a chronic, what do you call imposter.
A chronic imposter. So a mime? Excellent mime work. Did you study under Francois, the expert mime university professor? He coined the term a mime, and people got really confused because they thought he was just saying memes the wrong way, but he was talking about something very different. He's virtually an unknown master of his craft.
What the fuck is happening? How you doing, Chandler Phillips?
I'm doing great. I'm doing just ducky. We have had some really fun, exciting cocktails that you can catch up with behind the bar to figure out why we're so just
like the playlist.
Zazz.
Oh, if you're watching the video, there's gonna be a thing there.
A thing on the
No, don't do that now.
No,
That's not happening.
No, okay.
It's
I'm
just
just
a
gonna
thing.
jellyfish away then.
It's just there.
Okay.
If not, it's gonna be down there. That's it. The playlist.
Boom. And also, you know what would make it really easy to just kind of figure out what the fuck we're talking about all the time?
Oh, here we go.
If you like, comment, subscribe, keep up with the podcast.
You have to say it.
Yeah.
All this time doing this thing, and like now you have to share it with people.
Mm-hmm.
How's that feel?
Kind of empowering because now I don't just kind of subtly throw in that I do a podcast. I can be like, I have a podcast. Let me show you. Let me pull it up on your phone. Hold on. Give me your phone real. Just hand me your phone real quick. It's really quick. And then while I'm just doing the demonstration, I can hit like, follow, and
you can leave like a ASDF JK semicolon real quick.
Exactly. All in the span of 5 to 38 seconds of me struggling to look up this podcast.
You barely even know how to use the social media you do have.
Yeah, that's why I have to commandeer others. I'm like a parasite that way.
Oh, my Lord. All right. Well, I guess here we go. First, so we did a lot of things behind the bar.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is that unfortunately, I have no idea what's happening.
Like in general?
Just
or
period. Maybe we've had a stroke. I don't know. So what's happening? You're guiding me. You're my Sherpa. You're my my little Judolph.
I feel like because of the whole nose-focused lore of...
Oh, no, I didn't even mean it like that. God damn it.
You got there, okay? You got there.
Fuck.
I guess no one will let me join in the reindeer games. Thanks, Ben Affleck.
The reindeer games is a fucking analogy for the Holocaust?
No, the reindeer games is an analogy for standard business practices. And so people are like, oh, man, that guy's weird. We didn't let him socialize with us properly. And now he specializes in something that we don't know anything about. He must be the weirdo. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is anti-Semitic propaganda. because he's only useful once they realize that the
Ostrachization.
ostrichification
The ostracism. Being like an ostrich.
being. Don't even get me started on ostriches.
Why are they always hiding their heads under the sand? What are they hiding from?
You know, ostriches chose to shave their heads. You know that, right? They're skinheads. Sorry, that one was a reach. Admittedly, that one was a reach.
You know, like somewhere there's like a really offended, like moderate ostrich who's just like, I can't believe they would say that. I just don't want black people to move into the neighborhood. Even ostriches are concerned about black people moving into their neighborhood.
Ostriches are like, like I don't dislike them, but just not in my nesting site. This is totally side fact. Did you know ostriches are one of those birds that will like mate for life and stuff, and so usually they'll develop emotional, like romantic attachments to their handlers when they're in captivity. And so when you see like the ostrich doing the whole display dance, it's because they're trying to fuck.
That's hot.
Just saying. Ostriches
So what you're saying is, if you want to get laid consistently, groom an ostrich.
Allegedly.
In a video game.
And
in Minecraft. Man, I sure do love grooming ostrich. How do you ostrich?
Ostrichi? Anywho, we're drinking hot buttered cider. It is a staple of, well, not staple. It was popularized.
Drank
in the 1840s. It was repopularized in the mid 1900s, and now it's making a comeback. It's a hot beverage that's got butter, cider, spices, and alcohol in it. But I want to talk about the alcohol that we got in it, because we get real deep into the process of the alcohol. But we don't actually try it in our Behind the Bar. And so
I'm getting excited.
Brought it with me.
Oh, ow. Oh. I wish I had I'm not ready. I wasn't ready. Do I have a cheering or something?
So what I got here is Bark and Irons Applejack, made in New York, 100 proof. Ask no favor, give no quarter. Aged for a minute of 3 months. Oh, that means minimum. It's aged for a minimum of 3 months in barrels. Not quite sure what barrels, but we're serving up unaged version of our original Bacon House Applejack. Da 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 da. Bark and Irons, the true American spirit. The reason it's called the true American spirit is because Applejack, like bourbon,
it's moonshine,
is a uniquely American distilled spirit because of its popularization during colonial times, when the main export of the American Northeast was apples. So Applejack is a fun little apple brandy, kind of in the family of Calvados or just general apple brandy, but it's made from hard apple cider. And that is fractally distilled, which if you want to learn more about fractal distillation, again, listen to Behind the Bar. That's the best thing. But now we're going to taste it and figure out what Applejack tastes like on its own, because I am having a love affair with this buttered apple cider. It's got, like I said, what is it? Apple cider, the spices, the butter, and a shot of this Applejack in it. Typically, traditionally, it's a hot buttered rum made with butter. Yada, yada, yada. James, did you have the thing?
What thing?
Did you drink it? Did you have the tasty taste?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
I was listening to you. I was engaged.
Oh, okay.
I was engaged. You were doing a thing.
No, that's fair. He's chasing. He's shooting. So it's got this beautiful golden, not as amber as I kind of would expect from something made from apples. Usually you get like it kind of looks more like a light apple juice, like a Martinelli's apple juice in color. How does that smell? What's on the nose? What are you getting on the nose?
This is what I'm getting. I'm getting ethanol. I'm getting that alcoholness,
It
the
is 100 proof
tartness.
at only 3 months of age. Other things that we usually try at 100 proof, i.e., bourbons, usually bottled in bond, are bottled and aged, or no, not bottled, are aged for 5 years in barrels.
You,
This has a minimum of 3 months.
you know what this kind of smells like?
What's it smell like to you?
I don't know if this is possible, but you age things for a time. This smells like it was aged hard. Like if they were like, "Hey, listen, we only have 2 months, right? So like, let's put as many wood chips in as possible, because there's like no
Mm,
depth. Like the depth is not there,
right.
but you're getting the woodiness of something. There's some sort of
Kind of like, oh man, this is going to be a real callback. But do you remember Glyph
I
whiskey?
do remember Glyph. Yeah.
That was a whiskey out of San Francisco by, oh, I'm drawing a blank on the spirit, the people. Anyway, it was a whiskey that was made to simulate the flavors of a high end 10-year aged whiskey, but it was made just in a matter of months. Um, this kind of tastes like it, or it smells like it has kind of that synthetic body. The taste, however, is still very sharp.
Bright, acidic, a little sweetness.
It's
Again, not really smoke, but like chewing on a stick. You kind of get that
it's
when
twiggy, not barrelly. Is kind of
even though it
what I'm
does have this light caramel color, there's still a positive of additives or caramel coloring in here,
getting.
and that also contributes a lot of times to like a bitter flavor.
The additives, or
Yes, yeah, and like and the caramel coloring apparently has like a little bit of a flavor.
mm,
Um, I'm getting a little bitterness. It's a little sweet, not too cloying.
it's not as sweet as I expected. As far as, because we also tried one way back when. This is another, like, I don't know, probably first season arc, where we had Hudson Valley Applejack, and we talked a little bit about. And that one had like actual bits of pulp and debris in the Applejack. This one's a little bit purer, a little bit
Oh my god,
finer
I'd
distilled.
forgotten about this.
You know which one? The one that was kind of in like that, like it was a very sharp,
Yeah,
boxy
yeah, yeah. I
bottle.
remember. Yeah. Wow, that was an absolute flashback.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is definitely something a little different.
It's, I don't hate it. It's one of those ones that I would, okay, this this might sound a little trashy, but you know what,
Bitch, ain't no class, nothing here, but this ass and trash.
you know what I had the other day? I had a apple cider, like a hard apple cider. I think it was like a down east or something. Poured that into a pint glass.
That's an unfiltered cider, by the way.
Got a shot glass and put this applejack in the shot glass, and then did a little cannonball with the shot glass of the Applejack in the Down East hard
How
apple cider,
fucking old are you? What are you doing?
and then proceeded to just slam the motherfucker.
You're just at home. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna have a 9/11.
What? No, because it's just the one shot. If it had,
No, we just don't call them Irish, anymore.
no, I know that's what I mean. That's why I was calling it a cannonball,
Oh, that's fun.
or I guess you could call it like a Jaegerless Jaeger bomb.
Disgusting.
Anyway,
I got to the bottom of that glass, and I got something very interesting.
what did you get?
Fucking, go ahead, take the end of that.
Okay,
We're having ourselves a little mini moment here. Tell me that like there's not some kind of settling or something that happened in the glass,
it's kind of oily.
right?
It's a little viscous.
Yeah, there's like some sort of oiliness, some sort of bitterness that's like clinging to the side of the glass. I was noticing that with the legs, of course, but it being like a fruit brandy, I'm not
It does tend to be a
surprised.
little bit. Do you think it might be whatever tannins might be left over from the actual skins of
I
the
don't
apple?
think you can talk about tannins inside of a beverage like this, Chandler. You almost
You
sound like a person who's not educated because then
you think
you would
just because something got distilled,
honestly the processing of the distilling will mostly eliminate a large. Honestly, that's why I don't think that these kind of things say the type of apples that they are, because effectively I don't think it matters. The only thing that matters is that it's like apple juice.
made from apple juice,
Yeah,
and
like I don't think there's any like there's not gonna be any kind of terroir. It's
you're
fucking.
not gonna get terroir, but you might get tannins because, like, I don't know, that shit.
I guess I'll Google it. I don't know the tannins inside of fucking Applejack. I don't know.
All I'm saying is that because tannins also tend to have like this relationship with the actual alcohol in the juice. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's possible, and if it's popsicle, it's possible.
I guess. You know
Does
all
it?
the thing. You know the thing. I don't fucking know.
Well, like we've had different whiskeys that have various different bodies. It it might actually be a result of what you kind of referred to as the hard aging, where if it is kind of soaked in
Yo,
wood, then like the oil and tannin of the wood itself, and it hasn't necessarily like breathed and settled.
the question
Like
is, do
with
you feel it though?
yeah,
Yes.
the I would even argue that the Applejack tastes thicker than the buttered apple cider.
Yes.
Oddly,
Yes.
it's bizarre.
Find out more about how you make Applejack behind the bar.
I'll do a little research.
There'll be like a link there
Okay,
or down there.
we'll follow it.
What's our main topic this episode?
Main
Chad?
topic
Oh, I'm
today.
excited actually.
We are getting into monster tropes, monster movies, cinematic monsters. What's a monster got to do to get a little respect around here? Ooh, no, it's just we've done. I get juiced for autumn for the fall seasons.
You get juiced.
You're right.
I'm getting juiced too.
I'm already full of juice. And I'm a hat. I just referenced those like, I like fall an episode or two ago, and you're like, fuck it. Table, fall, decor, autumnal.
Cause we're fall people. We're
Houses,
April babies.
spooky.
We're April babies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which I guess that means our birthday is the beginning of the year. It's been a while since our birthday.
Well, it's the beginning of the fiscal year.
Yeah, so Christmas is like whiles away from our birthday.
That's true.
By the time we're getting close, it's like Halloween. You get built up Halloween, Thanksgiving,
hype.
Christmas.
It's also Libra season. Just throwing that out there. I'm not quite sure.
If you watch wrestling, it's like Royal Rumble, the beginning of WrestleMania season. Like Halloween is like the beginning of like shit is. This
Shit's
is the fun
going.
season, man.
It is a fun. I don't know if I ever told you this, but in high school we did like I was in student government. We did like homecoming floats, and then each of the float had whatever like classic movie theme, but it was like a fall classic movie theme. And the one that my class did was Wizard of Oz. Or no, that's what it was. Sorry, the theme for the whole thing was Wizard of Oz, and my class was the Scarecrow. There was a Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion, Tin Man, and I forget what seniors did at that time, but it was something different. Anyway,
It's real interesting.
I was volunteered to be the Scarecrow for our float.
Aw.
And I gotta say, I think it was really just because I had the wardrobe and the stringy straw hair for it. But I fucking killed it as a scarecrow.
You only had a brain.
If I only had some brains. Brains? So that leads us into our first topic.
Oh, hell
Monsters.
yeah. So that's the number one thing. So when it comes to the holiday season, it all starts, of course, with All Hallows Eve, Halloween, Samhain. This is the time of the year
For the
where
devil.
all the things happen. You get candy. The leaves are changing color, and that's
Because
where
of Satan.
things change. I'm gonna tell you a story real quick. Hold on. I remember very vividly. One of the things that my mother and I used to always do It's very funny. We would watch Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, the
with
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt,
Yeah, I
Kristen Dunst.
love that movie, and my mother would always go all out. Trick or treating in Harlem. You go to the grocery stores, we're not knocking on doors. So she would like make these spooky things, and she made this like pumpkin cake. It's like a pumpkin mold, the ones. It's like a novelty,
Yeah, where it's kind of like a bundt cake, but it's pumpkin
but it wasn't
size.
finished. She took it off, and its face, its distressed face, it's peeling, sad, distressed face, sloughing off.
It was a zombie.
And I still ate
pumpkin?
some of it.
Wait.
It was not good. It was undercooked significantly.
Oh, it was undercooked. I thought you meant like it was the.
Oh, you
pumpkin
know I was
itself,
telling you
like-
a story that was like, and then mankind got thrown. Like, then the Undertaker threw mankind off the top of the Hell of the Cell in front of 45,000 screaming fans. No,
Did that happen then though?
that did happen though.
Not that.
No, not then.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking not cryptids,
Not cryptids,
but creatures.
and not even really. We had the other one on kaiju.
This is a different type of creature.
We're doing different types of monsters.
We're taking our time to get there.
We're doing classic movie
I'm
trope
dying. It's my fault.
monsters. So I think a fun game, real quick, is if we just go back and forth trying to name off as many classic movie monsters as well. Like something that you would see kind of featured in like a Scooby-Doo like extra movie where it's just Scooby, Shaggy, and then like maybe Scrappy or someone, and then they like meet. It's like Scooby-Doo and the Wolfman, or
that series had a name.
which one are you talking about?
I don't remember the name, but that
there
series
was
had a name. They
where
did have that.
They both turned into to Wolfmen, the werewolves. Right?
Wolf people.
Well, yeah, wolf individuals.
Individuals of wolf persuasion.
It I'll go first. Vampire.
First, you have to say. You gotta say it with like. You have to be like vampire.
Dracula.
Okay, I guess I'll be the creature of Dr. Frankenstein. Dr.
Oh.
Frankenstein's creature.
Ooh, okay. Creature from the Black Lagoon. The Swampman.
I mean, this is where we get into a thing. Because you said, like, old school or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
That was pretty old school.
is 35 years old? Because Hellraiser is, like, maybe even older than that.
Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's like the one from like the 60s?
Yeah, but still, stuff that came out in, like, the 90s. Stuff that came out in 81.
Okay, well, I guess we have to kind of set some delineating factors.
We definitely do. So,
Because-
one, what is?
What is a monster? Or what
was
is
it well, I don't know.
it's a no good bloodsucker. Now look who's in trouble. Kanye West samples. Here's one for examples.
What is
So a monster, I guess, it kind of changes based on whatever cultures we're in. I guess I'm trying to refer to like cinema monster, like cinematic. All right, you remember the Billy and Mandy episode where they go to the retirement home?
Yes.
Who would you find there?
The mummy.
You'd find a mummy, right? Okay.
you find a mummy.
You'd find a wolfman.
You find a wolfman. You find a Frankenstein monster.
You find a Bride of Frankenstein, maybe.
Of course.
You'd find a Dracula.
Now you wouldn't exactly find Chucky, but you would find a possessed doll that
You
like
would-
an,
you
like
would
an older
definitely
like an
find-
older mannequin that's like
Mm.
with a gray. It magically has gray hair because it aged out of being a spooky mannequin, I guess.
And now it's an adult spooky mannequin. It's an adult
But
mannequin.
its
who's
knees
just-
hurt. So like the person who's like spiritually magically attached to them is like in agony and old and is like, and then they're like, my knee hurts, and the person is like, I don't know. It's like,
Oh, I'm gonna
Could you-
stab you, but my elbows, I need my cortisone shots.
Could you imagine being the vassal for some demon, but now you're like 75 years old, and like the method is like that you control mannequins, but you have arthritis?
You're the puppet master, but your fingers keep locking up.
Yeah,
and you got
it's-
knuckles the size
yeah,
of walnuts.
yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
I think that's pretty fucking funny, actually.
Do you think jinns, like genie jinns, would be considered monsters?
I mean, we don't. That comes from a culture that we don't recognize or understand. So of course,
Yep. Yeah, that would probably.
but then there's different types of monsters.
Because there's
Right.
the like disfigured monster that's like
Because you have creatures.
you got
You have built creatures.
Okay.
Like you have like Frankensteins and Frankenweenies and like creatures that were made like by like a mad scientist.
Okay, yeah.
You have like
that's-
underwater creatures, which is like their own variety.
so you got animal hybrid creatures.
yes.
You have science fiction, science made like middle finger at God kind of creatures.
yeah.
Then you have
You shouldn't do this, John. I know what I'm doing. I don't know.
it's alive.
It's
That-
alive.
Then you have satanic like the evil, like they've been corrupted, possessed, etc. Oh, I don't know. I think you'd have to make a clear distinction between like vampire creatures and like demonically possessed, because the demonically possessed like the Exorcist isn't necessarily the same.
No, it's definitely very different.
They're very different.
Because like there's like a new movie kind of about a woman exorcist or whatever. I saw a trailer for.
like
and
she's
it's like-
the exorciser.
Like she's like I guess the only nun in like this place, and like she's helping them, and she wants to be an exorcist, but I guess because she's a woman and she's kind, the ghosts just stop exorcising.
So she's like,
like she's
the
kind.
power of Christ compels you, and they're like, I don't have to.
No.
Take this
So in the
from-
trailer, they're like, they're like, "Wah," and the little girl's like spitting vomit and shit, and the priest are like, the power of Christ compels you, and she comes and she goes, stop, and she goes, it's me, and then the monster turns back into a kid and goes, oh, it's you, and it's like, I guess the love, and I guess apparently she's really good.
she
at
could just snap him out of it.
She just like snaps him out
It's
of it.
just
with-
Cher walking up, going,
It's
snap
the-
out of it.
But then my favorite kind of monsters of Halloween is the Jewish ones.
Oh, okay. Wait, we already said the Frankensteins.
or of vampires. You got your Count Dracula. I mean, your Count Choculas.
Oh, yeah.
Count Chocula. You got what's that? The Count.
Nosferatu.
Sesame Street?
Oh, the Count. Yeah, just the Count.
Yeah.
Wha-
Come on, you're gonna tell me that they're about to be Jewish?
Ah.
One,
Ah.
two.
Ah.
Have I listened to you one more time?
Well, like even the whole Nosferatu style or like depiction is obviously an anti-Semitic trope. Like the hunched shoulders, the nose, the like I don't know. There's a weird history of also like usually the Draculas, the vampires are like what's it called? They're like instilled by whatever governing body. So like even the whole like dating back to
You don't know shit about vampires, but I get what you're getting to. Because depending
it's
on
always a count. It's
depending on
always,
the
like-
type of
or a baron or
depending on the type of vampire, let's say Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right?
like
Season 1, you had the Master. He was just the one in charge of the little coven.
was he the master or the meister?
He's the master.
Oh, okay.
But he was only the leader of like the vampires in that exact area. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right, you know.
Or is still like
And
a
then
global-
vampires in that universe are people who, when they get like bitten, their souls go to hell or whatever, and
Mm.
demons take over their bodies. But it's not the same as the possession by like the spirits,
right.
because even in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they have an episode where somebody gets possessed by like a spirit,
right.
and then
right,
they like
right.
fucking exorcist out.
Well, okay. What about Spawn? because he's like a demon, but he's been sent back, so he's kind of like a vampire.
He's not a vampire. He doesn't drink blood.
He doesn't drink blood.
You know, he's actively.
I'm thinking more of Blade now.
He's kind of just a demon. Blade is I know all the vampire stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a daywalker. He's half man, half vamp.
Do you think
It looks at your face
in American vampire lore, do you think it has to abide by the one drop rule?
Actually, it depends.
Like, do you?
Because
if you're half vampire, but if you're really like
depends.
a fourth vampire,
because a lot of American vampire lore is people like focus a lot on Anne Rice. On Anne Rice, and like in the way that it works in Anne Rice is that you can't just bite somebody, you know, like an interview with a vampire. What happened, right? Is that like Armand was lonely, so he went and he found somebody, he bit them,
because there's
then
like
he gave them his blood.
Yeah, there's the Venom kind of style vampire where it's like you bite and then if you just don't kill them, then like if they survive, then they just become a vampire. But then there's the transactional.
Because Kirsten Dunst's character was like, you know, he like kept her and was like giving her the blood to keep her alive so that she would turn into a vampire.
Oh, right.
So that they would have like a fucking 12, like an 11-year-old.
That part's weird. That part's kind of weird. I'm gonna be honest.
What other monster stuffs are? I'm a vampire boy.
Well, then you also have, like I said, the human hybrid kind, or the like human dysmorphic kind, I guess, where like,
which is ableist.
It is ableist because like
look at this scary guy because he has no eye.
Like it would be literally like what is it? What's the dude from the Goonies?
Oh yeah. The guy from the Goonies. I don't fucking know, but we all know what you're talking about.
It's not Chunk, because Chunk.
Isn't it Chunk?
No, Chunk is the
Chunk. No, Captain Chunk.
He does the truffle shit. He's the kid.
We literally have fucking the internet.
Well, fuck the internet. I'm just
Mikey
gonna
Walsh, Andy, Laurent Choco,
or you have like Hunchback of Notre Dame, or like
where literally Quasimodo's just chilling.
Yeah, like people are like, he's a monster.
He's all nice and shit. He's like petting frogs and birds are like flying to him. He's like tending daisies, and like he goes to the fair and he's like, oh, I love the fair. And they tie him to like a spinning thing that's just like magically in the middle of like the town square. I guess they were selling slaves. What the fuck was happening? And he's like spinning on it, and they're fucking throwing tomatoes at him. Monster! First of all, let's not forget that in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the whole story at the beginning, and this is definitely how you could. Horror movies especially do this, where like it'll be like a jump scare early in the movie, where it's a disfigured person who's not the bad guy,
right?
You know, where like you see some real creepy, somebody shuffling, and like they're like running and they're scared, and then it's just like the old librarian, they're coming to check on them, but he has like a hook for a hand and like one eye, like Hunchback of Notre Dame was a lot like, the beginning of it is like, the mother just has a disfigured baby. So they gonna want to kill the fucking baby. So she's running away and they're gonna fucking kill her, right? And then they see the fucking baby's deformed, and the Lord, he's like, fuck, this baby's so ugly that it's obviously like a punishment from the devil. So I'm gonna hide it in the fucking tower of this church and make it slave for me while it's in there and shit and do nothing.
We can't have him see the light of day, let alone anyone else see it.
Just like fucking alive.
I mean, but that's kind of the origin story for Jason.
That is
right? On the whole Friday the 13th shit. It's like his whole thing was like he was an ugly kid. People bullied him until his spirit was so unsettled.
I mean, oh my God.
There's
the first movie though was not him.
It wasn't him.
Yeah, the first one was his mother, right?
Right.
Who was doing revenge for him.
Right.
And then she's
revenge.
And if I'm correct, if I remember at the end, she's like with him or whatever. And he fucking kills her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then because like he's, I don't know, he's a fucking monster. I don't fucking know what happens. And then he in the second one it's him, but he just got bullied for being
Ooh, should we do like? Is there another category for like knee height monsters?
like like oh my god.
Like, okay, so you got Chucky, the Leprechaun, Gremlins, which I know that's not a horror movie, but they are monsters.
The leprechaun is also racist. Don't you know that Irish people were treated like slaves in America? They were treated worse than black people.
I'm gonna let you sit with that one.
This-
I mean, what am I gonna say to this?
the leprechaun.
Well, actually,
Well, well, actually, the potato famine is not even real. The Irish people wanted to join the EU, and they wanted to be part of Britain.
dude, he's like right there.
Oh God, the Irish are the true monsters.
Scrappy Doo is a fucking monster.
Oh fuck, Scrappy! I used to always hate that motherfucker.
And then the first Scooby Doo live action movie came out, and you were totally justified in your hate because he's a little bastard.
He is a little fucking bastard. He's a little.
What other knee height monsters? Oh, the kid from The Grudge.
I guess I feel like there's like because all the monsters from like a lot of those movies from like the early 2000s, late 90s are like poltergeists or like ghosts, right?
Yeah.
So you have possession of children.
Yeah.
You have crawling out of television screens, being played from CDs and or record players and or Jumanji style
or mirrors.
or mirrors.
Mirrors is
That's like a whole category of its own. You know.
Would you say like Pennywise from It falls into cosmic horror?
He is an alien, or it is an alien. Don't read Stephen King. Don't get too deep into Stephen King.
It's all turtles.
It's
all
an
the way down.
alien. It's an alien.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It would be technically cosmic horror, like
Right?
like Cthulhu, or like what's the Galacticus, the destroyer of worlds.
Is it cosmic horror? I feel like it's honestly. I feel like it's just classic kind of spooky horror. You know, clown horror. But like in the book, children fuck each other, and then it turns out it's from space. Like it's literally just regular horror.
And then at the last minute, it's like, but by the way, to just kind of wrap.
There's
this
another
all
type
up,
of horror that I feel like we don't really talk about, which is Stepford Wife horror, which is like so you know Stepford Wives,
Yeah.
which is a novel, which has had a movie and then another adaptation of that movie, which is about women.
I mean, it's Get Out.
And it's always like women
It's
in a
the
position
same
where
plot
they can't
from
get out,
right?
which I just saw Get Out Don't Worry Darling, and it's the same kind of horror.
But that one doesn't technically have a monster. I mean, the monster is systemic, like.
Do you know what happens in the movie?
In Don't Worry Darling or Stepford Wives?
In Don't Worry Darling.
I don't know what happens in either movies. I don't know.
It's incels.
Oh.
The movie is kind of bad. The movie's kind of bad. It's incels. I'm sorry, it's incels.
Okay.
That's the monster.
But it's not just incels. It's the system that perpetuates and propagates.
That of course, that's the whole point.
But like that's the difference between like a slasher horror or slasher monsters, body snatching monsters, and then like I guess your traditional. I was watching Young Frankenstein yesterday. It's a classic, one of my favorites. But that it follows the like classic movie trope of here's the monster. We're presenting the monster, but the monster's misunderstood. I think that's the thing that makes a classic movie monster is that there's a fundamental misunderstanding of the monster's intentions, and therefore it's almost relatable. Like the monster is the protagonist, and Dr. Frankenstein is the antagonist of Frankenstein.
So here's the thing that I think people always forget, which is And I was looking it up. But I don't have to look it up to know this, which is horror movies and the horror genre has always been like run by like queer people and like people of color and like weirdos, and it's been like strangely very progressive. So it's like weird because we talk about a lot of these things and they're like modern horror tropes. They're like disfigured dude who was in your town and that they use as like maybe he's the villain.
Yeah,
But
the
really,
red herring.
it's the attractive person who was your friend the entire time.
The attractive
who
sociopath
was
because they're a narcissist and they never learn to care about anyone but them stupid selves.
But like it, the Thing, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, was it not the Living Dead? What the fuck is
Oh, The Hills Have Eyes?
the Romero movies? George Romero, the house, what the fuck,
Oh.
Living Dead, and Return of the Living Dead.
Like the Rob Zombie movies?
No,
Or the House of a Thousand Corpses?
no, what? Fucking, oh my god, I'm having.
Left 4 Dead 4?
I just said I'm having like a brain fart. Did I just say fucking? Wait, what is it? What the
You
fuck
said
is it
Night
called?
of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I said Living Dead. That's what I said. I was right. Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, and Return of the Living Dead.
Oh,
Yeah, George Romero.
okay,
All those
yeah.
movies are about like systemic shit.
Yeah.
All those movies, you think it's weird that like there's always like a few people fighting like this overwhelming tide of like a concept. Even the concept of like this is not a traditional horror or horror monster, but like where the earth is the monster because it's like gonna kill you because of an earthquake or a tornado.
Like 2012 or
All of that is like
San Andreas.
all political commentary.
Yeah.
Hunchback of Notre Dame is political commentary. You think this pro Catholic? He'd fucking he's literally like fucking. You know
No,
what I mean?
obviously, like, movies are going to be socially poignant, but it just seems like in some areas,
Isn't the person
monster
who wrote
movies.
Dracula gay?
I don't know, but
Am I just saying that?
Mary Shelley was.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
That's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But also Mary Shelley is credited with being one of the first like sci-fi horror authors. So like they get a pass.
I see something here that got me super excited, which is sci-fi horror inherently anti-science?
Oh yeah, that was a fun note.
And I lost my whole shit when I saw that because that's so fucking interesting because I don't think that it is, but it's been co-opted totally by people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who like you gotta be real fucking careful with shit you watch. Can you just watching a fucking movie, you know? You're just
like,
enjoying a movie.
Well, I think a lot of sci-fi horror plays on the tropes of human hubris, right? Like that's kind of the whole thing is like we want to play God. But in writing that kind of story, you have to also set like when is it that we have gone too far? Like where's the point of no return?
Like there's no checksums, no checks and balances, never, nowhere, not.
I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Like, what is it? Dr. Mengele? No. Mengelev. Mengele? Not the one who did the pea shoots and genetic stuff. The Nazi doctor who did the stuff with twins and, seeing how nervous systems and shit work. Like, there's a lot of stuff that has been done unethically in the science field, and I think
Joseph Mengele. That's the guy, Mengele, Dr. Mengele. Yeah. Didn't he get off? Isn't that what happened? Is he one of the people who came here to the U.S. government and like denounced the Nazis, and then they just like took them and used them?
Nah,
I don't remember.
He was.
Oh no, he was like the main guy.
Yeah, he was the main.
He was the angel of death.
Yeah, people saw the shit that he did, and they were like, "Oh, you shouldn't remain alive." I'm pretty sure he was either Nuremberg trialed or he just offed himself when he realized shit was hitting the fan. But like I guess that's kind of the commentary of like science has to have ethics. But there's some science horror shit that I'm like, was it unethical? No. Was it a little immoral? Yeah. You know?
After the war, Mengele fled to Argentina in July of 1949, assisted by a network of former SS members. He lived in and around Buenos Aires, then fled to Paraguay, lived in Brazil, and while being sought West Germany, Israel, and Nazi hunters, they he fucking drowned in 1979 after suffering a stroke while swimming up the coast of Portugal. They killed his ass. I'm glad they fucking did. Rest in fucking hell, bitch.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, fuck that guy.
And that's the main thing was
Yeah.
like, you know, real people are much scarier than some of these creatures.
And
Some of the sexy shit is like Teen Wolf
yeah.
and Twilight, Blood and Chocolate.
The Shape of Water.
Yeah, it's like people really want to fuck creatures.
I mean, I'm not going to say I get it, but they can get it.
Oh my, I love it. Wink. I like how I said wink and then a wink.
And then actually
Wink.
winked. What do you think about like mermaids as
Hot. They
As,
can't be black. Mermaids cannot be black. I don't know if you know this, but mermaids, creatures that don't exist.
sirens, harpies? Actually, wait, no, those are two different things.
I mean, all black women are harpies, obviously. See,
I feel like wait, isn't the actual like the mythology of harpies and sirens come from like Carthage and like of the Asiatic Sea, the Mediterranean? It's usually like the kind of southeast
I don't
part,
fucking know. What the fuck? I don't know.
the
Of where?
like
Of New Jersey?
no, of like the Mediterranean. So like, because usually it's like the Greeks who wrote about it are like, oh, we were on some faraway, distant place in near like what is now Libya.
We really messed it up.
What's that?
Sweetheart, me and the troops have just landed in Carthage. We came across these crazy women, and they were on an island. And they would sing, and people, it was magic. I think it was the gods. I think it was the gods.
They just sent, and then all of a sudden they just started pulling us into the water because we did absolutely nothing to deserve it. And for some reason, when we overstayed our welcome, they decided to murder us. I don't get it. You know, sometimes when you're a pillaging army that's just going through lands, taking whatever you want, some people get a little upset about that. And honestly, if they can't take a joke, that's on them.
Snowflakes. Just raised a little bit of your land.
Just a little bit.
Just
And
a little
like,
bit.
I only just wanted to kind of enslave some of all of your people.
Just pillage a little bit of your villages.
Just a little bit. And you're taking it so personally. Like, yo, it's a joke.
Movie monsters and like horror movies are definitely just like one of those pure forms of escapism, because people, and this is the kind of thing that I think we run into a lot, you know, drink and get high and fuck and go for walks and run until they lose all the weight and their fucking knees hurt and do all kinds of things to like find something because they need to be distracted from things. And the fake horror is better than your real life. Like a fucking creature coming out and randomly murdering strangers, I guess, is better than going to fucking work. And that's
sometimes. Well, it's because you get to think, well, what if it's not me? I'm not the one getting murdered.
Also because the movie's end good. They're
Yeah.
supposed to. This is a part 2. But then you know it's going to end good. You can never go into a horror movie and you're like, the end, the monster is going to get away. And
but that's sometimes the monsters do get away, and you're like,
and they move to Argentina.
Yeah, and then they end up drowning off the coast.
Oh wow! I guess
after
with
a stroke,
just swimming 20 miles out and just happened to have a stroke. Nobody looked into it. I love
Kinda
when Nazis die.
I'm circling back to the science horror. Would because of the tropes used in Jurassic Park, would you say that is akin to a Frankenstein esque science fiction horror? Because think about they have the hubris of the doctors to create life and to create a being that was deemed like naturally um, gotten rid of. They like the meteor kind of just murked them all off. So they're not the dinosaurs aren't supposed to be here. And there was an effort by humans hubris to bring them back, and then the karmic
No,
or
I get it. What you're getting
the
at.
ironic injustice is our
Yeah.
own creation is now wreaking havoc
Yeah.
and has gone out of our control. It's literally broken through the fences.
It's just a kind of more complicated where I think it's like, so you have the hubris of the main person who doesn't just want to do the thing. It's like modern, so he's doing it to exploit it, right?
Yeah.
And then it turns out badly because just like in Frankenstein, it's like Frankenstein's just chilling, and then
He's
people
just
show
vibing.
up, and it's like, fuck, I'm scared. I don't know what the fuck is happening. Still a little protecting yourself, you know. The dinosaurs are just doing what they do. They got made.
They're just doing what's in their nature.
Then the second movie, very interesting, is because like they torched the shit. You know, they've torched them. They've showed up with the pitchforks, but then people who know how dangerous it is have showed up to exploit Frankenstein's monster again.
They're still trying to exploit the thing, and you even have the whole like sequel of the Frankenstein's or the Bride of Frankenstein. Now they got the T-Rex is a female and it's laid eggs. Life
Though to be fair, the
uh,
one thing I do like that they
finds a
that's
way.
so silly is like by increasingly increasing, like so the first new Jurassic World is like a mega T Rex, and then the next one it was like a megarer T Rex.
They just kept building. They just kept building up. Like no one ever took the hint of like, hey, if we're gonna do this, we need to take out some insurance.
You remember like apparently because the people from Jurassic Park are in Jurassic Park 3. Do you remember 20 years ago when a boat of dinosaurs landed in LA and a T-Rex was just stomping down fucking like the fucking city and shit down like Hollywood Boulevard or some shit. in
Just
Hollywood?
romping and
They're
stomping.
just romping around, and then like 20 years later, you're like, oh, you know what? Now we've got it.
Now we figured it out.
Now we've
Let's just make it bigger.
let's just make it.
The problem was we could fit the thing on a boat, and then the boat carried it to where civilians are. If we can't make it fit on a boat, then it can't ever harm
Well,
civilians.
you gotta think like this, like a capitalist. The first time, well, what really happened, if you pay attention to the movie, they paid Nedry not enough. He undercut all the other contractors to do the security for the park. They didn't pay enough money. They didn't do the due diligence. So it's not really the fault of the idea.
Yeah, the monster or the dinosaurs aren't the monster here.
And then the second
Capitalistic negligence and shortcuts for theme parks.
the second one, they're just living on an island, not doing nothing.
And people show up and they're like, wait, we still want to try to monetize this. We want a return of investment.
Very distinctly, the pterodactyls were locked up. Those motherfuckers is locked up in a cage. They going in there. That's what happened. And the third one, fucking let them out. Fucking they send them flying. Whoa.
Whoa. Now they're out.
Now they're out.
Dactyls out of the bag.
Dactyls out of the bag.
So,
Hold on 1 second. Don't go nowhere. Do a talking.
me?
Do a talking.
Do a talking. Well, in addition to the science type tropes of stuff, we also got like Splice was weird, right? Like that whole movie where it was just essentially another Frankenstein movie, but instead there was like a weird love interest between the child daughter monster and the creator of it. That was off-putting. Or there was a sex scene where it was like, "Oh, but I made you."
I saved it.
You
I saved the show.
Are you sure it's?
No, it's plugged in now.
Oh, okay. Cool.
People who are watching,
He saved it.
if you're listening,
It's been saved.
it was almost over.
We were in peril. We
It's
our darkest
still
night.
pretty scary.
Our darkest night was before the dawn. So yeah, we got science horror. It's not inherently anti-science, but it is posing. It holds a reflection up to science progress and the ethics of um, the scientific method, and says, "Are we sure?" Next, we got slasher monsters. That's next on our trope bag, and we kind of touched on this a little bit with like knee height monster. Small soldiers was another one that kind of
Oh my fucking god!
in general, when toys come to life for nefarious purposes
Horror,
in horror movies,
abject terror.
I am fucking horrified, and I think that's because I project a little too much humanism onto my. As a kid, I did this way too much. Like, oh yeah, my toys will get jealous if I don't play with them equally. Type of projection, and like, I think I would even say the scene where the toys get their revenge on Sid in Toy Story.
Oh yeah.
Horror.
Oh, first of all, it's absolutely ridiculously horrible. There's the fucking toy that's the baby's head.
The baby's head with like the
claws that like
that's oh, that
Yeah.
reminds me. Wild Wild West.
Wiki Wild, Wild Wild West, Jim West, Desperado, Rough Rider, no you don't want nada.
Big Willie style.
We're going straight to Wild West. That was his like fucking thing in his wheelchair.
That was his whole thing. He was just a big claw man that is like a giant mechanical spider. I'd say that's a monster too. It was being controlled and puppeted by a mad scientist, but again, horror. They put collars on you that would just have blades like follow you. That
Oh fuck!
you remember that?
I
shit?
forgot that the way that they found out the memory is they found the dead person's head and they shone the light from the inside of his head because the image of the last thing that you see is imprinted on your fucking retina.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. But that was like, ooh, that was detective horror, really. If you think about it.
I love the detective horror. Now that's different.
Detective horror is a whole different genre because I guess it kind of sometimes falls into slasher horror,
Or even
like,
or even like paranormal.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because the detective, all that matters is that there's a detective.
Well, even like I guess you could kind of substitute a detective for a priest in like a demonic possession kind of horror, but they have to get to the bottom of like which demon is doing the possessions. That's another interesting one, but that one, I think detective horrors, the monsters are usually more often than not human,
Yes.
and that part's weird.
When you get human monsters, that's when it's deeper.
When you get human monsters,
Like the Dahmer thing.
yeah, which I don't know how I feel about all these like I know like serial killer stuff has been hot for a while, and like if we really wanted to blow up, we would just do serial killer podcasts. Like that's how we should have approached
That'd be like
this.
the easiest thing.
That'd
We'll just talk about. We're reviewing. You know what? I watched some of it. Let's review a little bit of Jeffrey Dahmer right now.
All right.
Scary, bloody,
my review of it, unsettling.
very unsettling.
Whenever I watch a serial killer horror documentary, mockumentary, something like that, there's a part of me that goes, yikes.
Ugh.
Heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I can just do that so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like all it takes is just like one bad day, and I can just be like that. I can just
like
do
a
that.
like a couple bad days.
You just imagine this when you stub your toe.
One bad day will turn you into like a criminal.
One bad day makes you yell at your wife when you don't really mean to. when she didn't really do anything wrong, but like she kind of forgot and maybe ruined her shirt that you don't even wear or care about, but you had a bad day.
But you had a bad day.
Yell at your what? Okay, no.
You murdered some kids that
Don't
you shot at the Y.
Abuse children.
Yeah, no. Don't do it. If you're having a bad day, talk to someone. Don't murder
Oh
people.
no, we're talking about serial killers and shit. I should probably put like the suicide hotline thing here.
Oh yeah. So yeah, slasher movie. What's weird, I think, is when you get into slasher movies that also have like slasher slash demonic possession movie or like supernatural slasher movies. Cuz like Saw is Saw technically a slasher movie?
It is totally a slasher because there was the one guy and then there was a copycat and then he came back.
Right.
It's not like it was a ghost or something. It was like a
Exactly.
dude.
It was just one day. Same with Scream.
The thing is, those shows,
Right.
so a lot of the movies and stuff, you'll see a cycle where like the beginning is like very grounded. It's like a guy. And like the guy's wearing a scream mask and he's fucking with you because you know what you did or whatever. And you know who it is.
Oh, I forgot about I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Right? But then by the time it's like the third movie, like you're shooting them and they're getting up. They're appearing behind you.
Oh, so
but
it has
then in the fifth
have
movie,
franchise armor.
yeah, but
That's its own whole thing.
Yeah.
Is like when villains get franchise armor.
then like by the fifth movie, all of a sudden it's like, like they did Halloween. They did all the Halloweens.
So many.
Then they did the Halloweens like in space and shit. And now they're back to doing Halloween again.
Yeah, it's the final one supposedly.
Yes.
But
Again.
didn't they just have one?
Did
like,
they just have the final one? Yes.
That one's weird. Lastly, I want to just touch on one of the other kind of up and coming, maybe not so up and coming monster lore things is the folklore monsters. Made popular by Taylor Swift's Folklore album.
Great album. She's coming out as gay in a few days.
Good for her.
You're not in on it. You're not in on it. You don't know.
It's coming. But so like folklore, I have folklore monster baddies.
Which I feel like is going to have to be its whole own episode one day. Because like the whole folklore thing is that you have your horror, but there's like so much. First of all, it's all horror. It's all horror. Okay. Hansel and Gretel.
Oh yeah,
horror,
Witch in the Woods. Most of the grim tales are
grim.
The Grimm brothers. You know, like the ones that take
Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Grim. I was gonna try to do a Mandy voice, but I kind of lost it.
I was reading your little notes.
But so we have the Babadook, right? That was
which they made a movie.
They made a movie. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's go. There's all the different horror monsters and stuff that's in the Witcher series, and that's all based off of like Polish and Slavic folklore, along with the Baba Yaga, the Slavic like witch boogeyman, steal your kids, lives in a chicken hut. Or a hut with chicken legs.
You also have the big bad wolf.
Yeah, the big bad wolf. That's
he'll huff, he'll puff, blow your house down.
Wait.
And in this economy,
he'll huff, and he might puff. But in this American infrastructure, the only thing he's blowing down is wages.
Oh, so the big bad wolf is going to be running for president?
The big bad wolf wants to give
me.
everyone a handout, even if they don't work.
That would be great. You ever read Fables?
Fables?
The comic?
No, I haven't.
Which is a comic where... I'm just going to fucking ruin the comic.
Okay.
Spoilers for a comic from like 30 years ago or 20 years ago or some shit like that. So pretty much Fable is... The whole concept is that there's like a big bad evil. And so all of the fables leave the fable world to come to the real world.
So
the big bad wolf
in,
is a detective.
Oh, I love that.
He's a good guy.
Wait, did you ever see Hoodwinked? Just in that same...
a long time ago, yeah.
The movie about like the murder mystery about who killed, I forget who it was, but it was the Red Riding Hood cast.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Red Riding Hood and the wolf and Granny all had to team up to like figure out who done it. And the wolf, I'm pretty sure it was Patrick Warburton's voice, and he was just like, "Look, I'm just doing this to get myself like no longer. I didn't do this, but like I can't afford a lawyer and bail, so."
What a coincidence, because the main bad guy of Fables, again, a spoiler for a comic from a real long time ago, is Geppetto. Because Geppetto, he got really, with the power of being able to bring people to life and stuff, he took the Blue Witch because something happened bad, and he asked for her help, but she said no. So he like tied her to a fucking like thing and is like draining her the blood from her to use her to create an army
Oh,
of
yikes.
like fucking
puppets?
living doll monsters. He ended up taking over the entirety and inadvertently becoming like a very. I mean, he is evil. He is evil, but he has like a whole, like, you know, he didn't mean to become bad, but like, because originally
They
what happened
forced
was
his
no,
hand.
it's like it's Fable shit. He was living in Fable, and then like a king from another land. They're like, listen, the king is evil, and you have power. You can make
And
boys
now
come to
you
life.
work for him now.
No, so they're
No?
like, can you kill him and replace him with a puppet?
Oh shit.
Because he's evil, so he'd be the hero,
Right.
and then he was the king as a puppet, and
Geppetto
then
was
he
puppet
just
king.
needed to make everybody else safe. He's the
Oh.
police,
Oh shit. I like that idea.
you know, and I love it because in it,
Wait, so it's Sin City
yes,
meets
100%, it's great.
meets the
I didn't
fairy
even
tale
tell
town
you an
from
eighth
Shrek?
of it, and the thing is that like they touch on all the Fable characters, all the folklore characters, because all of them are horrific. Your Hansel and Gretel's, your Little Red Riding Hoods. You know what I mean? Imagine the
dark.
trauma.
Yeah.
And they get along now, but like it was hard, you know.
Like at the time, there was shit that went down.
You know, because he fucking
Like, can you just? I'm sure you can't because you read the comic, but just picture the big bad wolf who's like,
there's a lot of those panels.
"I'm getting too old for this."
There's a lot of that. That's literally his whole character. His whole character.
Clean up this goddamn city. It just brings me darker into the. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the three little pigs is like a cokehead.
One of them. Let me guess. The one who built his house with straws.
There's something super.
You know who
fun.
his dealer is?
Oh my god, who?
The one who built his house with bricks.
I feel like we definitely
Kilos.
need to spend a lot of time going over folklore.
I agree.
We can do that today.
We can do it.
We can.
We can. But a lot of the time you see in folklore monsters is they're usually not usually, but there's kind of like this weird trend of it being women, and specifically like childless women or
Eating children or
um,
kidnapping children
yeah,
or sending things after children.
or drowning children.
It's almost like they were trying to demonize women that didn't have babies.
And like scare kids into staying away from large bodies of water or the woods. That seems like it's like, hey, if you go into those woods, some crazy lady's gonna murder you.
Let me be clear. You don't stay out of those woods.
Who's gonna get you?
We need to. I'm sorry.
I was talking.
This 100%.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What? Like there's what was it? La Llorona.
Who the fuck is that?
Oh, I was okay. So I'm sure you've heard of this, but I was talking to a former coworker recently because, like, I didn't recognize the name, but as soon as she started getting into the myth behind it, it's the or the Latin, I think it's specifically Mexican myth of the woman who found her husband cheating on her and out of spite and anguish drowned her two children. And now her soul is damned to haunt. And if you go too close to the water, or if you're up too late, or if you're just, a naughty, misbehaving child. If you're a naughty child, then La
If you're
Llorona
a naughty child, the woman who murdered her 2 children is gonna murder you.
is gonna because she cries. She cries at night in the darkness, and if you address the crying, then she's gonna get you.
She's gonna murder you.
But
Like she murdered her 2 children.
She might not even murder you. She might just kidnap you.
She might just, hey kid, get out of here. My kids drowned here. I killed them, but
I'll kill you next.
But if you don't leave, I'll kill you.
And then you also got like Krampus. Is like, hey, I'm gonna steal your kids, put them in my sack, shake them around.
Just take them. I don't do nothing else. I just put them in the shack. I just give them a little shake.
Give them a little shake.
And then I'll send them on their way.
Oh, sometimes he'll just keep them, or he'll just beat them with a birch stick.
But usually the parents are okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's disciplinary. It's they gotta beat the good into the child, and that's what Krampus is for. What are some other? Oh, there's so many other like witch motif in just like monsters, like that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, don't go out into the woods, or someone will. There's one that's like, I want to say it's Southeast Asian, but it's just a floating head. It's a crying floating head.
From where?
Southeast Asia. I don't know. I have this neat little infographic in our notes that
That's not gonna work that way. You have to close it. You have to stop it. Close it. There you go. Because you're like fucking trying to.
I got it.
Because it thinks you're editing it.
I figured it out. What was it? There's not El Cuco. No.
They can't see what you're doing. They can't hear what you're doing.
They'll figure it out. Damn.
This is really engaging. I feel.
I lost it. But there's a
I'm
handful.
watching.
There's so many different like spooky, scary ghosties that are all just kind of like, it's a floating head of someone who died sad or died angry.
It's like somebody whose soup got cold, and they thought it was still warm, and they were like really excited. And when they went to go eat the spoon, it was like really cold soup.
The gazpacho. It'll steal your soup. If you let your soup get too cold, the gazpacho's gonna get you.
I'm like half. I'm half in the bag.
And 3 feet down the drain.
Do you have any more monsters? Any more creatures of the night?
What about the ones that are like? What about the ones that are like alien monsters, but like the alien monsters that play on our biggest insecurities as a society?
You mean like when it's like movies where like for some reason when the monsters are when the aliens are kidnapping you, whatever technology they use makes you have like nightmares about your mother like coming in and killing you. It always seems like that, It's like they're like have you and they're like probing you or whatever, but you're having a nightmare that like you're at work and the girl who's taking care of like the woman in front of you, her face just like starts sloughing off. Like they just fuck with you in just like the most weirdest ways.
Those ones are weird. The ones that are like do the real cryptic symbols that don't really let you know what's happening, or they'll do like the images that are like beamed into your head. Those are weird. I was thinking more of like how Alien, the xenomorphs play on our fear of like, we as humans, especially white people, especially white supremacists, think of themselves as genetically.
You say we white supremacists?
Oh, I just said.
Are you taking ownership of being a white supremacist?
No. That is not saying we live in a society of people. and white supremacy has kind
We-
of kind of bled into a lot of things. It is a fear of colonials to feel inferior or like we're oh no. That one was in reference to the to colonials.
We're colonizing Brooklyn.
The whole xenomorph thing is like playing on the fear that like there is something that is genetically like evolutionary adapted to be the best version of killing. But like as humans, we feel like we kind of got killing down to a pretty good science. Like of the other species on Earth, we're kind of the best at killing things. Like we might not be like evolutionarily the best at killing things, but we have done the work to kind of cover all of our bases. So like even the biggest actual in the world monsters that keep us up at night, like orcas and like I don't know, things that used to hunt us. We can feel comfortable being like, yeah, they may try to get us, but like at the end of the day, we can still shoot it.
Sound like a cop to me.
We can, yeah, exactly. And so think about if the majority of people who are making movie tropes have that kind of cop mentality of like, well, if I don't shoot first, then I'm last. Then it would be very unsettling to see something that doesn't die as easily as everything. So like Aliens kind of plays on the idea that like humans are inferior and not as equipped to handle something that is otherworldly and could easily prey on us. Predators, ironically, is more humanizing to the monster. Like there's a social structure, there's a whole like and there's even a morality and an ethics aspect of predators where they're like if it's not if the thing that I'm hunting isn't an active threat or isn't like a potential threat or even a competitor murder wise, predators don't give a shit. But like predators, the way we know, like in nature and stuff, are like a predator will eat, it will kill to eat because it predates on prey, right? But the predators don't fucking eat people to survive. They have whatever rations that it's like they're just the dude out hunting who brought some jerky and like they may eat people cuz like I don't know, they stopped at the intergalactic space station on the way here and there just happened to be some like Jack Link's human jerky on whatever space stop.
Didn't they come here on purpose to hunt?
Yeah. And it's just like a game um reserve. Like it's just a hunting reserve for them. They're not here to conquer either. That's the other weird trope with those kinds where it's like I feel like colonial mentality it also fears like when an alien and force is coming to colonize and to take the things there's like this weird like oh no, what if the aliens treat us as bad as how we've treated all of the places that we've colonized over history. I can't imagine. That's horror. That's horrifying. Oh no, they're going to come here and take our land and women and resources. Oh, I couldn't imagine something so scary. That's like whatever. But the shit where it's like, nah, it just came here to hunt. That's kind of scary, right? That's spooky. What do you think's spookier? What do you think resonates in your bones more? What's scarier, the alien, the xenomorph alien, or the predator alien?
I don't really find. I don't know. I'm not. I don't think horror movies are particularly scary at all or spooky.
Like, wait, all horror movies or just alien horror movies?
Any. They really don't appeal to me. I'm not really. interested. They don't really bother me or anything. I don't know. They just happen. They just exist. I literally am like very weird, I guess, because everybody I know is like heavy into like all the horror shit. But like vampire movies aren't scary. They're just creatures. In
Creatures
every
of the
movie,
night.
like they're always just creatures. They're not fucking scary. You ever go watch a fucking horror movie with a vampire where you're like scared? No. You're fucking you're not scared of predator. You're excited to see it hunt things or get killed. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the suspenseful things are like a little suspenseful, but not horrifying. I don't know. I don't find
Would
anything
would
scary.
you would you classify Aliens as a horror movie?
It is.
Though?
What are you talking about? It's obviously a horror movie. What? What? It's obviously a horror movie.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
no.
When was the last time you've seen it?
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's definitely a horror.
That being said,
movie.
though, it's like spun off some of the weirdest alien-related, but like not horror content ever. Like Raised by Wolves on HBO Max, which is about aliens.
Huh? What's that? What? Like is about in that universe and
It's
like
in the universe. It's
the
kind of like what
Ripley-
was that? That movie that's a prequel.
Prometheus.
It's like Prometheus, but like it's another planet and like it's people and shit. Like stuff is happening. It's in the same universe.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Do you have any you've given us a lot to work with as far as what to look for monster media. Is there anything that you would like really stand up? You said you don't really give a shit about horror, but I know you give a shit about monster media.
Actually, not that much.
Yeah, but bruh.
No, I really don't give a shit.
You were gleeking over
I mostly watch like fucking dramas and comedies, and I watch a lot of sci-fi. And most sci-fi is not horror.
I'd say there is a solid overlap between sci-fi and horror.
No,
Though.
it definitely is. But I don't really watch like spooky jump. Even though every sci-fi show has the episode where it's aliens,
It's aliens.
where like they're just walking and there's dark and shit, and there's lights, and then things jump out or explode out of a chest.
What about Supernatural? Is Supernatural horror
Like the show?
The show.
I've never watched the show. I can't say I'm a horror boy. I don't watch Supernatural. I don't fucking know shit about that.
Okay. Is Nightmare Before Christmas
Oh my! What are you talking about? What are you having a seizure?
horror?
You know what's horrifying?
What's horrifying?
The fact that you think Nightmare Before Christmas is a horror movie.
I think it's scariest when they go to the Christmas realm and there's just
When you say things like that, it's definitely time for us to get out of here. What the fuck is he talking about? Talking about Night Before Christmas being a horror movie.
it could be scary, spooky. There's that's another monster that we didn't get into. Skeletons. Spooky, scary skeletons.
Skeletons are never scary.
If there's an army of skeletons.
Never. Skeletons are always fodder.
Yeah. But I mean, wait. I do have skeletons are and were scary to me in Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl. The very first one. Especially when they did the thing where they reached through the bars and it was like, skeleton hand.
I must have been too old because I love that movie. I used to watch it all the time. I never thought it was scary.
It had a couple of jump scares. Like when he's like, you better start believing in ghost stories, Miss Swan. You're in one. And then Jack the monkey drops down and he's all like a skeleton monkey. And he's just like, little.
There's nothing scary about that.
I'm not gonna say it's in order for it to be a monster. It doesn't have to be scary.
I mean, it's a monster, but it's not horror.
Like skeletons are.
It's not scary.
What about Evil Dead? Huh?
I mean, it's kind of camp, but you know.
Most horrors camp, like you said earlier. Like it's
No. What have you ever seen horror? Have you ever seen Evil Dead 2? Like the beginning is a recap of the first movie with different actors because they didn't have the rights to the first movie, and like the first actual shot of the movie is him like being like a doll version of him being like whipped through the trees. It's like fucking weird.
That's pretty funny. Skeletons can be monsters.
Yep.
Zombies are.
You don't even know them as people, calling them monsters.
You're right. I didn't. Because once they're dead, they don't matter.
Just like a capitalist.
Mm-hmm. People are only people and not monsters when they have purchasing power. Think about that. Think about the impoverished in Les Mis, monsters.
Wow.
You ever watch Les Mis and think, man,
wow.
I feel really bad for this
Stole
for
a
these
loaf of bread.
French aristocrats. How are they how are they going to survive
Does you
this?
know the meaning of the law?
The meaning of the law?
Meaning this 15 years a slave of the law. 5 years for what you did. The rest because you tried to run. Yes, prisoner 24601. My name is Jean Valjean. And I'm Javert. Don't you forget my name.
Yeah, he's a monster. Look at it.
Look at him. He steals bread.
He steals bread.
Tries to run.
Doesn't even succeed at his getaway.
Then, because he can't get a job, because he's a pariah of society, he steals. Uses his stolen wealth.
Repeat offender.
To be honest, I actually don't know why the monster of Javert was after Jean Valjean. He just found him, going under a different name, yes, but like peacefully being a good mayor of some town. I just know who he is.
I know he's bad blood. I don't care. He served his debt to society.
People are the real monsters.
I think we learned that from The Hills Have Eyes.
They have other parts too, but we don't talk about that.
Oh, you mean?
We have to get out of here.
You watched HBO in the mid 2000s, right?
No, I didn't have HBO. I didn't have money.
Oh. There was a not so sequel to
I pressed the wrong button. Oh no, you like that? I wasn't even trying to press the button yet. Wait.
He's trying
nobody look at me.
He's trying to play me off.
Nobody look at me.
Those are the real monsters.
Wait, that's not the right one again.
Still the wrong
Wait.
button.
I did it.
As we wrap up, what's your favorite monster?
I don't have one.
Just none?
I'm not a fucking loser. I'm not a fucking loser. Spends all their times wishing that they were a vampire. Why be a vampire when you be a vampire slayer?
Slay.
Or if you're a man, you're a demon slayer. In Buffy the Vampire's universe. Why would you want to be a vampire when you can fall in love with a vampire? When you can touch the cold skin of a vampire's supple flesh. You can feel the coldness drawing away the heat of your body.
I think I'd like to be a squid man.
A squid man?
A squid man.
Oh my god.
Like Octopus Dad.
Oh, fuck. Where do we find you guys? Where do we find you? Oh, fuck.
You can find me.
Do it, then take a shot, and then I'll do it, and then I'll take a shot.
Okay, you can find me at Jokes for Trees on Twitter, or Chandler Does Jokes on Instagram, or bumblebearcomedy.com. And, I am going to have a little comedy set that'll be on tape, so you can actually see that I do, in fact, do jokes.
Oh, shit. You actually going to get it this time?
I get it, got it, it's good.
You actually got it?
I got it.
I want it.
I want it. I got it.
Hell yeah. Oh, wait. Take the shot. My turn.
Yeah.
Twitter at What a Funny Friend. Facebook /Was That in Good Taste. And of course, as always, you can reach out to us at Was That in Good Taste at gmail.com. Leave me alone. I've had too many of these.
You know, it actually does taste more like moonshine than brandy. That's crazy. That's wild. That's fucking nuts, dude. Ugh. All right. Thank you for listening. This has been Was That in Good Taste. I've been Chandler. And that one's James. you ain't got to go home. But you can't stay here. Remember, drinking is not required.
But it is recommended. Oh my God, what is happening?
Oh yeah,
I'm getting a little bit of that corn.
that is a
You just
monster.
reminded me of moonshine. You're right.
It does have
Corny.
little
Ugh.